Hi, I'm XO, and today's video is a little bit different than my previous ones. I'm sort of known for going off on rants on my Discord, and I enjoy it. I get passionate about things. I enjoy talking about them. I enjoy sharing information about them. And one of the areas of expertise that I happen to have is in regards to various Kickstarters. See, going back to the beginning of Kickstarter, the idea of helping a small ragtag group of guys or girls get together and put together the game of their dreams was intriguing, interesting. And then along came Double Fine and Tim Schafer. And that was odd. This is a very successful company that we're talking about. They don't necessarily need the money of your everyday person. They could get a publisher very easily. And they have their own money coming in too. But you know what? Why not? And there's a massive response to Double Fine. If I remember correctly, they raised like $2.5 million. Massive. Consider, most Kickstarters at this time were $50,000, $75,000. We're not talking AAA games. We're not even talking multiple hour games. Most Kickstarter games at this point were half-hour, hour-long little mini adventures. And it was a way for budding developers to get their feet wet and still have a little bit of money and not do it only in their spare time. So when Schafer pulled that off, it blew the floodgates off of Kickstarter. And, things changed very quickly. That includes everybody and their mother who had ever made a game coming out suddenly and deciding, hey, we could do this. John Romero showed up on there with it failed. It didn't go anywhere. It was like, his was like the Romero FPS or something like that. He wanted, I think, what did he ask for? Was it $500,000, I think? I think it was more. I think he was 1.2 million. I apologize. I didn't do my homework on this one before on all of the Kickstarters because I'm here to talk about one specific one. But Tom Hall, he did like a Commander Keen style game, but it was like almost like Mario Maker, build your own levels, but it looked like a Flash game. He wanted $500,000. Didn't make any sense for what he was offering, right? Not to mention the demo he was showing looked like it was already done and built. So sell it. Why do you need another $500,000 to finish it? Some of the classic ones that came out around this time, there was Space Venture. Scott Murphy and Mark Crow, the two guys of Andromeda from Sierra, known for their Space Quest series, came back from the dead after not working together for years, after they didn't even talk to each other. They weren't friends anymore. And they made up, they kissed and hugged, and they came on to make a new spiritual successor, and that is the key freaking word of Kickstarter. Spiritual successor, because nobody had the rights to what they made back in the day. So everybody was making a spiritual successor to something else. I'm planning on doing a small series of these Kickstarter videos because I have been involved in so many scams. So I won't spoil all the videos I'll be doing, but today's video I'm going to jump right to Infamous Adventures, because I mentioned them during my Scum VM video, and between the Discord and the comments on there's people that are confused. There's people who are still defending Stephen Blackthorne Alexander, and I just don't think he's defensible at this point. So if we come over here and look at his first Kickstarter, it was Quest for Infamy. Clearly based around the idea of the classic Sierra Quest games. The idea was very close to Quest for Glory, but it was the opposite. Instead of being the hero of the story, you're the villain. Really neat idea. The game's graphics, they look a lot like the SCI era, King's Quest 5 to 6 era, probably more like 5 than 6, but not the AGI era like King's Quest 4, right? It got a groundswell of support. You can see that this game here got $63,000 from 1,656 backers. Now, if I remember correctly, this project, if we go way back to the very, very, very first update of 87, this goes back to around 2012, I think, 2000, maybe 13. While I'm loading here, I'll keep talking. The game most of the goodwill for the game came from the fact that the group behind it had made some freeware games that looked really good in the past. They had done some of the Sierra remake type stuff. And this was going to be new, right? Yeah, here we go. Update 1, June 7th, 2012. And that was the first day. So we're talking, it's 2024 right now. We're coming up on the 12th anniversary of this Kickstarter this June. And Steven here, Blackthorne, he's an affable guy. He's a likable guy. He's jolly, he's happy, he's passionate about the games he makes. And so within the adventure community, he quickly gained a following. He became someone that people could rally around and say, hey, adventure games are not dead. Because in 2012, this was the era of the Telltale adventure game, which I could do a whole video about them. Telltale didn't necessarily, what they call an adventure game, some would call a visual novel. It pretended to have choice. It pretended to make a difference what you did. But you got the same story every time. And their first games weren't that bad. The initial Sam & Max, especially for the time, when you were starved for something like that, they were pretty great. And I was a convert. I bought a lot of their stuff. But then it kind of fell off, especially when they got popular with Walking Dead. At that point, we got really kind of railroaded into a very specific template of a game. So when something like Quest for Infamy came along, that was a breath of fresh air. And I was one of the 1,656 backers that came along and said, you know what? I want to pledge to this. And so when you pledge to a thing on Kickstarter, you are promising money up front for a reward later on. And there is a misnomer about Kickstarter. You see, especially back then, it was not if you can deliver the rewards, it was you were expected to deliver the rewards. Somewhere along the way, people started saying, look, it's not a store, man. You're not pre-ordering. It's just, you're giving them money, and if it pans out, you're getting a gift in return. Well, I've never heard of a gift system where if I give them $35, they tell me I will get a physical copy of the game in a shrink-wrap DVD case with full color wraparound artwork on the case, color printing on the DVD, with all things in the $25 level and below. Which, that's not a mystery gift, right? That is a very specific quid pro quo transaction. You give me this amount on this page, and I will give you this thing over here, right? Now, Kickstarter changed their terms because the number of people who started scamming on here. And Kickstarter doesn't want to be responsible for that. So Kickstarter takes their little cut and says, sayonara, F you, we don't care what happens to you. So as a backer, that kind of sucks. Because if I'm going to turn around and collectively give someone like Stephen Alexander Blackthorne $63,000, and he decides not to fulfill on his promise, and the person who gave him his platform to do it says, peace out, well, that kind of gives me one option. Go after him myself. And so I did. And I don't have it sitting here with me because I don't give a crap about it. But I do have a physical copy in the box of Quest for Infamy. And not many others do because he didn't ship the damn thing out to anybody. Even though he claimed he did. If you go into the updates of this project, the last time he updated was in 2017. That was update 87, I believe. Yep, 87. And as we go back here, it was around 2015. And it doesn't take long to get that far back because he doesn't update very often, or didn't. But here you go. He's saying, the rewards are all in. They're at my house. I hired someone to help me assemble them for shipping and send them out. But then they went AWOL. And he's been swamped. He's got his first child coming. Things are crazy at the house. He's working on the new game. He sincerely apologizes. But you know what? It's going to happen. I reassure you. And even though it's just him at the moment, he will get it done. It's giving him an ulcer. Look at that. It's giving him an ulcer. Because it means so much to him. They're sitting there in his kitchen. He even at one point posted a picture of these stacks of boxes and stuff in his kitchen. Yeah, he's talking about the DVDs have arrived. Here's the layout. It's all here. It got printed. It got shipped to him. And so that was in 2015. So why in 2024, just 8.5 years later, do most people not have a physical release? Well, let me take you down the story that Mr. Blackthorne would have you believe. You see, first of all, his kid was born. And being a dad, God, that's hard. And so you can't do anything. You can't work a full-time job and be a dad. You can't ship out boxes to people and be a dad. Which, God, I wish someone had told me that. Because I had a daughter born in 2010 and a son born in 2012. And I kept working. I kept going to my job and I kept making a paycheck. And I was even working on Exodus back then. And I was releasing Exodus in my spare time. As a matter of fact, in the hospital when my son was being born, I finished designing the cover for Exodus 3 Volume 5 Action, which was the first time I put the action games in Exodus. Back when everything was split by genre, because bandwidth and internet was not fast enough to have, a 700 gigabyte pack. So I had multiple small little packs that were between 50 to maybe 200 gigabytes, and you had to pick the genres you wanted back then. But I was able to release mine. And so the kid thing. But he has not forgotten. He is shipping 3 a day. Okay. 3 a day. Keep that in mind. He's shipping 3 a day. Oh, unless I log in, I can't see the numbers. Oh, no, there. We can still see the numbers. So let's find the first tier that has the physical box in it. Here's a physical copy of the game. That's at the $35 tier. Now, that's just the DVD case. That's not including the box. So let's go down, because he said he was sending out boxes every day. $100. You get the game, the special edition soundtrack, the backer t-shirt. No. Shrink wrap DVD case. Big box! There we go! $120 is the first tier with the big box. And we have 78 people came in for that one. Nope, not this guy. This one backer that picked this one pledge tier here, he did not get the big box. But these 20 did, so now we're at 98 people got the big box. And then here we said all the rewards 100. No, that's not the big box. Physical copy, no. Big box, 6 more people. So we're at 98, we're at 104 now. Same as the 160. Nope, that one doesn't get it. One more. 105 people here. I'm sorry if this isn't fun for you, but it adds up, believe me. 112 people now. With 4 more. 118 people. 116 people now. All previous. Oh, we got 2 more here. 118 people now. We'll just add everybody else. 118, 119, 121, 122 people. Oh, got 5 more down here. 5 suckers paid off $500 for this game. 127 people. Another 5 here. 132 people. And then finally, 2 idiots paid $1,000 for this game. 137 people got a big box. Okay? Keep that in mind. How many weeks are in a year? 52. I'm going to cheat for you and tell you. If you send 3 boxes a day, how many copies of that is in 1 year? The answer is 156. And yet less than that number of people pledged for a physical box. Okay? So at 3 per week, he would have knocked out all the big box orders. At another 3 per week, he would have knocked out all of the people who got a tier that just included the shrink wrap DVD. Okay? This was 2015. If we go back over to the updates here, then as we come down, we can see that in 2016, an update on shipping. Hey guys, it's slow, but I'm continuing to do it. I appreciate everyone's patience. So at this point, March 3rd, 2016, not quite a full year yet. So let's go forward a little bit. July. No, let's keep going a little bit. September update. Now it's been a year since he started shipping. At this point, all big boxes should be done. And yet nobody has received a single item. Okay, and he's saying, I'm sending out the single packs for people who ordered DVDs and the companion books. So he said, I haven't shipped out the big boxes yet because he sent out a few and they got crushed. Boo, we don't want that. Well, that's funny he says that because there's not a single comment anywhere on his Twitter page, on the forums that used to exist that they pulled down on their QI website, Quest for Infamy, and not a single comment on this whole Kickstarter where anyone says, I got my package and it was crushed. Nobody says that. Because nobody ever says, I received my package. That's how I know no one got a crushed one. Right? So then he goes and finds crush-resistant boxes that he could ship easily, up to 200 pounds. Well, I can tell you from the box I finally got from him, because I didn't leave him alone, it's a standard-ass box, and it's the same kind I use for my Exodus boxes that I sell, and they cost $1.25. I'm sorry, cost about $1 each from Amazon. Maybe just $1.25 now. They've gone up with inflation the last time I checked. They're about $1 each, and I still have reports that some of my boxes get crushed sometimes. But we're not talking about some, like, he went and, hired scientists to develop a new kind of shipping box here. But let's go forward in time. Oh, look, it's March of 2017. We just jumped another year. And it's the last time he ever updated. Officially. He still comments repeatedly from 2017 up until about 2019. And in every comment he makes, he claims, I am shipping 3 a week. I've never stopped. And when people say, then why has nobody come on here and actually said, hey, I got my box? And he says, well, because the people who get them they're not coming back. They're just going and playing their game. They're really? Nobody? Because I've been on a lot of Kickstarters where the second people get their stuff, you know what they do? They lay it out, they take a picture, and they show it off because they're excited. They want to share it with people. They want the community to see, look, I got it. And if any of the people who had been apologizing for him all these years had gotten theirs in, you know what they would have done? They would have taken a picture and posted it for everyone to see on this Kickstarter to prove, nope, Steven came through. He's a good guy. So we've established a couple things here. One, this clown never sent them out to anybody. Or if he did, it was like less than 10. Nobody ever came on and said, I got mine, except for me. How did I get mine? Well, I don't like spending hundreds of dollars, because I did spend hundreds of dollars on this. And before I had wised it up to this clown, I had gone to his other Kickstarter. Let me get back over here. The Order of the Thorn and Rome to Ruin. So they went balls in on 2 more games before they even got the other one shipped out. And they're like, okay. Well, actually, they say 3 new adventure games because they're somehow like talking about the one they've already done. But I guess it's new if it's not done yet. Whatever. You can come over here and look at rewards. And if you come way down, let's see here. In the $500 range, and luckily that was not me. $1,000 range. So they only got 2 suckers down here. But there was some ink. Oh, they got a few more. Oh God, they got 1, 2, 3, 4. They got 5 people to pledge $500 each. And none of them got anything. And one sucker paid $1,000. Ooh, can't even see him. You see his little picture here. I guarantee you he's not hanging out in the comments talking about how great the game is. Because he never got any of this stuff. He didn't get a limited edition keepsake box constructed from oak that features the logo imprinted on it, with your boxed copy on a green bed of velour, and a one-of-a-kind. Inside the box, a certificate of authenticity personalized to the pledgee, decreeing them the owner and member of the Order of the Thorn. Yeah, it didn't happen. Because they didn't finish the bloody game. A pixel art statue in your likeness? Fuck off, Blackthorne. This dick. The reason, why am I so venomous about this guy? Because after he raised another $30,000, almost $31,000. So if you add it all together, he's at $100,000. Now, Kickstarter takes their cut. So let's say he made $80,000 after everything. Okay? Not a ton of money, but that means one of two things. Either A, they didn't need a ton of money, or B, they're not good at figuring out how much money they need. And the problem with Kickstarter is if you don't get it right, you're still kind of on the hook for what you said you were going to produce. And if you get kind of bored and decide, well, I ran out of money, that's not a good excuse. Because at the end of the day, even if Kickstarter's not going to hold you accountable, you have a reputation to uphold. And what blows my mind is how many people still apologize for him. Because you see, after he pulled the I'm a daddy card, and my daughter is so hard to raise, then came the health issues. You see, Stephen had kidney issues. And it was looking like he was going to need a kidney transplant. And, you know, that's I'm not going to make fun of that. That's horrible. It's not something I would wish on anybody. And I'm pulling up something here because would it surprise you if I told you that oh, it's gone now. Can't pull it up. Oh, I found one of them. I did find one of them. You see, oh boy. Does it surprise you to learn that he showed up on GoFundMe? And this is just one of the times he showed up on GoFundMe. And he raised $41,000 for this kidney transplant. Now, unlike, and that's only 818 donations, which means people gave a lot of money. You know, Jay and Betsy here gave $250. Jennifer Hayne gave $250. People reached into their wallets and pulled out a lot of money for Stephen. See, if you come down here, Steve's story. Back in 2002, he got a kidney from his father, and everything seemed fine. But yet, only a couple months later, it turned into a problem. They claim the surgery damaged his kidney, and that it was rejected, and he had to go back in dialysis in 2007. And then by 2012, he needed another kidney. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. He got his second transplant in 2011. But then it got rejected, and so he needed a third kidney transplant. Now let me explain something about kidney transplants. You have to be a healthy person for a kidney transplant. Doctors will tell you, you have to lose weight, you have to exercise, you have to eat well, right? I got really curious about Stephen Alexander around this time, and so I started searching him. And he left a lot of websites that he was on public. One of them was his Amazon wish list. And this is during the exact same time this is all going on, by the way. He's on dialysis. The GoFundMe shows a bill for just under $15,000 that he owes, $14,726. They don't mention whether or not they have health insurance or not, right? But he does have an Amazon wish list that's going on this time. And what is on his wish list? I am not joking you. He has bags of candy, cases of soda. Then he had like a guitar pedal, some other guitar equipment, and I believe there was also like model train stuff. But the model train stuff and the guitar stuff was eclipsed by all of the candy and soda that was on the list. Now, is it healthy to eat candy and drink soda when you are on dialysis? Could it be that those things and his enormous weight? Look, I'm not making fun of his weight, but when you are sick and you are on dialysis and you have your kidney failing you, weight loss becomes important. It's no longer a lifestyle choice. We're talking 2 people at this point have given him kidneys. And he has disrespected those people by eating candy and drinking soda right through it. Now, it's one thing to have a candy every once in a while. Have a soda every once in a while. I get it. But he wasn't... We're talking like cases of soda. Okay? Hey there. It's me. I'm recording this after I finished the video. You see, I went back and I spent some time looking at the fundraiser that Stephen Alexander has up a little bit closer. What I found here was interesting. You know, he's been updating nonstop. I'll come back to this in a second. But you can see as of February 19th of this year, he's updating people on his condition. Right here, he's talking about maybe spinal surgery, chronic pain in his spine, and here's an X-ray, and on the boom, on the 13th, the 15th, the 19th, the guy updates his hospital page every other day. You know, it's clear he's dealing with some health issues here. I'm not saying he lied about his health issues. I am saying that he has not taken care of himself very well. And honestly, that is backed up by these blogs he's got here. The one I was on here at May 3rd, it says, he goes on about how he's been living and breathing and sleeping kidney disease for 2 decades now. So I am very glad for him that he survived that long. But when you keep coming down here, he talks about... This is the part where I took extreme offense. This poor person who had them call me to do their dirty work said it was because of a history of non-compliance. So in other words, a committee said that a transplant clinic would not give him a kidney due to his history of non-compliance. And he takes extreme offense to this. He says, denying me based on fear of risk and potential for it failing and looking bad for their program, I could handle. But trying to put the onus on me and declaring me non-compliant had me seeing red. This is them passing the buck, putting it all on me instead of them. Anyone who knows me knows that I am a traveling pharmacy. I never go anywhere without the cadre of pills required to keep my transplant from rejecting. I'm a stickler for it. I even recommend a service I found that helps people take their daily pills. One does not survive for 20 years without being non-compliant. Well, Steve, if you're watching this, or friends of Steve, if you're watching this, you've had 2 kidneys rejected. You blamed one on a surgery. I'm sure you have an excuse for the other one. And I'm sure it has nothing to do with your health, your diet, your exercise. A cadre of pills don't fix you. A cadre of pills don't fix your kidney. They keep you in line, but they are not a replacement for the diet and exercise that you require. And who am I to talk about this? Well, I have double scoliosis. I've got 4 herniations on my disc, 3 in my neck, 1 in my lower spine. I have degenerative disc disease. I also have a cadre of pills I take. I have been on morphine for over 20 years myself. I take gabapentin for the nerve pain. I take Mobic, which is like meloxicam. It's a skeletal relaxer. Currently, I'm on a type of fentanyl patch for my pain. And that is a combination of things. It's for the pain that comes from my spine and also the pain from the cancer that I have. I don't buy any of this crap. I may not have kidney failure, but I know what it's like to spend 20 years in hospitals, to spend 20 years going to doctors, to spend 20 years taking pills. And if I let myself go, I'd be in a much worse place. Instead, I exercise weekly. When I say weekly, I mean I have an exercise regime that I do weekly, 3 days a week. I have been in martial arts for the past 5 years. I post images or videos of myself competing in kickboxing tournaments on my Discord to my staff members fairly often. Or at least when I do that, when they ask. If I wasn't doing those things, I would be in a much worse place. And the same is true for Steve. He doesn't do these things. Going to conventions is not exercise. And so, I hate to sound like I am backseat driving, his health. He knows it better than I do. But he has allowed this health to become his identity. I am not defined by my cancer. I'm not defined by my back issues. I'm not defined by the pills I take. Rather, I'm defined by the 3 letters that I put on my projects, the handle that I go by online, the time and effort and care that I put into my projects. And not everyone likes me. I can be a polarizing person. I have opinions, and not everyone will like my opinion. I am sure this video will turn many apologists off because in general, as a society, we don't want to hear someone talking bad about someone else, especially a sick person. That's a faux pas. But being sick is also often used as a mask, a costume, a blockade. You are beyond reproach if you're sick, right? People can't criticize you for being sick. And I'm not criticizing Steve for being sick. I'm not criticizing him for going to Disney World. I'm criticizing him for his lack of integrity. He plays a victim on his GoFundMe. He plays a victim on Kickstarter. He is defined by victimhood. And in the process, he's asking everybody for money constantly. And when a victim is always asking, always begging, people have every right to help them if they want. But they also open themselves up to criticism. He is not beyond reproach. He's a human who is taking advantage of the kindness of other humans, and I consider that to be a scammer. And that is why I take issue with him. If he was going through these things, but he was figuring it out himself, and he wasn't getting boxes sent off, then I could say, okay, he's not good at following through with what he has promised his backers, but he clearly has a lot going on in his life. If he was in that same situation and dealing with health issues and doing the stuff he does, eating poorly, sodas and candy on his wish list, and going to Disney World and eating his turkey legs and yada yada yada, then I would say, okay, he's not great at taking personal responsibility for the things he's promised others. He allows his personal demons and problems to take priority. Some may say that's okay. I personally feel that anyone who relies on me or that I owe anything to, that comes before any demons or issues that I may have. But it doesn't end there. It's the fact he lies consistently. At no point does he just say, you know what, guys, I'm a piece of shit and I can't get it done. He doesn't just say, guys, I'm sorry, I can't get around to it. He says, I'm sending 3 a week. I swear I'm sending 3 a week. It's that consistent lie. If he was just honest, I wouldn't have an issue. This video wouldn't exist. I just wanted to provide a little more clarity about the GoFundMe. I was rewatching the video, editing it, and I was reading the page while I was editing it, and I saw this in here, and it's also worth pointing out, look who the organizer is. It's fucking Sean Mills. The same clown who did the Sierra Adventure book. The same clown who blamed all the backers for being toxic, and that's why Quest for Infamy failed and never finished. The same clown who then did his own Kickstarter and claimed he had nothing to do. He literally blamed the entire thing on Steven. The whole thing. No, it's his fault. It's all in his hands. I've got no idea. Done. Bye. Great partner there, Steven. He threw you under the bus for not sending out the goods for the campaign, but he started a GoFundMe campaign for you. I am disappointed in everyone involved. Back to the video. Now, did you see the year on that? we saw 2016 was the dialysis, right? In 2016, this meme hit. Angry Splash Mountain Lady. There she is, standing in front of Splash Mountain, looking angry. There she is, sitting there. It's a funny picture. Got her arms crossed. She's got a very expressive face. You know, if we zoom in here, you can see it. These low quality Google images. This lady is Stephen Alexander's wife. And you can see here that when this first went viral, it was everywhere. Good Morning America did a story on it. 2016. Okay, that's when this happened. The same year that this is going on with the dialysis, right? Here you go. Stephen Alexander posted a sweet love letter to his wife, Jordan, to recount the story behind a photo that went viral last year. It's so sweet. But this picture of her, does it show? There he is. Look at him having fun at Disney World. I'm happy for the guy, right? He left his Flickr account open to the public. And in that Flickr account is him chowing down on turkey legs, chugging sodas. Get out of here, Al Roker. Didn't ask you for nothing. And look, I get going to Disney World with your family and your young daughter when you're 14-month-old. Oh, I'm sorry, daughter. It's his son. I apologize. That was incorrect. He has a 14-month-old son named Jack. I get it. You're sick. You're worried. You go to Disney World with your family, right? You share some time with them in case the worst case happens. But you go knowing that you're sick. You go knowing that you're coming home to a $15,000 medical bill. And then you ask everyone else to pay for it when you were paying for your Disney trip? And on that Disney trip, you decided to eat like a fool? You eat fatty foods the whole time, knowing that you're on dialysis. There's not an excuse for that. There's not an excuse for 2 kidney rejections because you can't take care of yourself. So let's move on. He was sick, apparently. Around this time, you start seeing a lot of backers posting, "Oh, don't expect it's bad for him. He may not make it. He's really sick. It's not looking good." So everyone says, "Yeah, I guess my box copy is not important compared to Stephen Alexander's health." And I agree with that sentiment. But he sure didn't look like he was on his deathbed in those photos. Look, at the risk of getting into personal stories myself here, I've had family members, my own father died of cancer, and I've seen someone in their last days, I've seen someone in their last months, I've seen someone dying. I myself was diagnosed with cancer just last year. I'm still dealing with it. And yet I've released Exodus 6. I've got about to release the boxes on the store. Every one of them will be shipped out the day they are ordered. I told my kids I cannot take them to Disney World this year because we had planned on it, because I have to pay for medical expenses. I don't have a GoFundMe up for that. I'm not asking the community to pay for my medical bills so that I can take my kids to Disney World. I don't have a lot of sympathy for someone who uses victimization as a crutch. So where did it all go? Well, come to find out, Stephen is doing just fine. Yay for him. He's going to conventions all the time now. And he is selling boxed copies to people at conventions. The same boxed copies that he was supposed to send to backers and he never did. He's healthy enough to go to conventions. He's got boxed copies he's willing to transport with him to these conventions to sell. And he's completely walked away from the community that backed him in the first place. The people that put the money in his pocket so he could make that bloody game. He walked away from them. He made them feel sorry for him. He built them for 2 Kickstarters and a GoFundMe. And then he waddled his fat ass off and didn't fulfill his promises to anybody. Now, he had a partner in this, Sean Mills. Sean, he, for his worth, he distanced himself from Stephen Alexander and just, he bailed on the whole thing. Sean went off and started a Kickstarter for the Sierra Adventure, a giant book about Sierra. And I tried to stop it. I went to Kickstarter and said, hey, this guy is the co-founder of 2 existing Kickstarters that did not fund properly. 3 if you count the third one that Stephen put together for the hint book for Quest for Infamy that he sold to a bunch of people and never sent them. I didn't even go back and see how much money he made off that one. I guess while I'm talking I could do that. So 273 people, another $16,000 just for the hint book. And I'm sure more copies of the game. Yeah, he sold more copies of the game there too. And didn't send those out either. Sean, the Kickstarter came back and said, well, he's not the guy who put his name on it, so we're going to let him do another Kickstarter. You can get someone else to take the fall for you and go start another one, and they don't care. And Sean, for his worth, went on podcasts and blamed the toxic backers of Quest for Infamy for why the game didn't get complete. It's the people who gave us money's fault. If they hadn't given us all that money, we wouldn't have had any responsibility, so it's their fault. I'm going to sum this whole thing up real short. Fuck you, Stephen, Blackthorne, Alexander, and fuck you, Sean Mills. Your backers made you. Your backers put the money in your pockets, and you are the idiots that couldn't figure out how to come through on the $115,000 you guys raised. You never finished your third game. The second one was released half-assed, and you never even printed the boxes for it you said you were going to do. And the first game, you actually finished and got the boxes in, and you couldn't be asked to fold them, put them in a box, put a shipping label on them, and drop them off at the mail. I was shipping 100 boxes a day when I sold Exodus version 5. I take that back. I got 100 orders in the first week, and it took me 2 days to ship all 100 orders. By 2019, he was still claiming he had sent 3 a day. 3 a week. Every week since 2015. That's 4 years worth. 52 times 4, we have 208. 208 times 3, 624 boxed copies got sent out from him. That's more backers than did the DVD case and the box combined. And yet, he's lying, bold-faced, to the backers, saying, no, I'm sending it. It's 3 a week, 3 a week. I mean, if you didn't get yours yet, it'll happen soon. I got mine by being a dick. I tweeted him every single day. I started posting weekly breakdowns of his lies in the comments of Kickstarter. I got on the forums at Quest for Infamy, and I started posting weekly to the forums, linking the tweets, linking the updates I was doing. At one point, me and the other 2 most vocal backers that were not getting their stuff, he said, you know what? I'm sending you guys out this week. Okay? This week I'm sending you yours. And I'll prove I'm doing it. He even took a picture of a receipt from the post office. It doesn't say what got sent. It just was a receipt. It didn't have a tracking number on anything. It just shows he bought something at the post office. He could have bought stamps for all I know. 3 months went by, and all 3 of us said, hey, none of us got anything. A year goes by. Hey, none of us got anything. He never answered. But he did eventually send me mine because of my harassment to him on Twitter. And I should not have to resort to harassing someone to get what I paid for. If any of the things that had happened to him were 100% true, I would have sympathy. But when you're going to sit here and hide behind the fact you had a son, nope, I don't care. Plenty of people get a lot of things done in their daily life, and they have kids. It can be upending. It can be crazy. You can feel weird when you get home from the hospital and think to yourself, how am I going to do this? But that's not an excuse to sit on your ass for a year and do nothing. If it had been the kidney thing, okay. But your pictures show you never lost the weight that your doctors would have told you that you need to lose for a kidney to work. Your Amazon wish list shows what your priorities are. Your vacation photos show what your behavior was. So don't ask me to have sympathy for you when you don't treat your own body with respect. And finally, don't lie to your backers' faces. Don't type them in the eye to them and lie consistently and say, hey, I'm shipping 3 a week. I'm shipping 3 a week. And because one day the math catches up to you. And then when all that goes wrong, don't disappear like a coward. Don't just stop responding. Don't run off to conventions and sell the very games that someone else already bought. Those are stolen goods he's selling to people. Those are already spoken for, and he's selling them again. And the sad thing about Kickstarter is thousands of people will donate, and a very few number of people will come forward and say, hey, this is bull. 1,656 people from the first campaign. 273 people from the codebook campaign. And I've already left the other page. It was another 1,000 or so. You know, we're talking 3,000 people minimum. And I'm the one who got a box because I wouldn't put up with it. Nobody should put up with that. Nobody should give their money to someone and let them just run off with it and spend it on candy and soda and Disney World. And then turn around and say, go fund me, save me. I need money. Well, that about sums up my feelings on Stephen Alexander Blackthorne. My problem with him is different than a lot of the other campaigns. The other campaigns are often mismanaged in other ways. This one's more personal. Because he lied and used things like GoFundMe on people. Ironically, the Space Venture campaign has a lot of similarities to it. They hide behind the victimization of all kinds of things throughout their entire campaign. And I think that one's been spoken about more than this one, but I'll still be happy to do a video on it. I'm going to cover American McGee soon. He is someone I lost every bit of respect for when he was doing his campaign. Neil Stephenson, the Clang Kickstarter, a well-known, renowned sci-fi author who went and gets Gabe Newell to be in his video for pitching it. Most recently, Firmament, the latest Cyan Worlds game. Cyan being the same company who made Myst and Riven. They decided to screw over their backers just this week. And so there's so much to talk about when it comes to Kickstarter. I thank you for following along. I welcome your comments on this. Some of you may not feel that I'm fair. You might feel like Stephen deserves more empathy, sympathy, grace, whatever you want to call it. Well, what I see is 3,000 people did give him empathy, sympathy, and grace. Well, let me take that back. 2,970 people gave him sympathy, empathy, and grace and just walked away and let him take their money. About 30 people vocally said, hey, what the hell, man? What's going on? And one guy made a video about it and researched the guy and looked him up and figured out what kind of person he was. So if you feel like I should have more sympathy, well, you can join the other 3,000 some odd people that didn't do anything about it. But I have every bit of evidence and right to look at how he's behaved and draw the conclusions that I've come to. Nobody can claim victimization as much as he has and yet show the blatant disregard for his own health, his backers, the people that actually came forward and gave him the money to save his life, or pay his bills at least, pay for his Disney trip, he can't even be honest to those people. And he's off at conventions selling the game. Now, I did hear from one person on my last video that they saw him at a convention and said, hey, I backed the game. And he gave him a copy. And the guy was like, he's so nice. Dude, think. You paid for that copy, and you had to find him at a convention to get him to give it to you? That doesn't make him nice. That's like catching a thief with your stuff in his hands, and the thief goes, oh, you got me here, you can have it back now. He gave you what was rightfully yours. He didn't do anything nice. Anyway, I gotta stop or I'll keep going on about him. Again, thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this series. If you don't, skip them. And I will be back with other videos about the collections, the projects, the games, all the other fun stuff in there. But there is a seedy underside of our community, man. And people take advantage of the people who have the kindest hearts. The people who take care of these people. The people who want to back these people. The people who will put money down to say, I support you. There are people that will take advantage of you for doing that. And I don't put up with it personally. And I'm happy to share these stories with everybody else so they can also see what kind of people what kind of person Stephen, Blackthorne, Alexander, and Sean Mills are. Have a good one.